In the heart of London town, where Big Ben's bell tolls deep, lived a young woman named Bess, with dreams that soared high up in her sleep. She yearned for adventure, for journeys afar, for a life that was more than the books in her jar. Oh, how she wished to escape to lands far and wide, where heroes and heroines in fairy tales reside. Now, Bess worked as a baker's apprentice, kneading dough all day long. And though her hands were dusted with flour, her spirit was never dampened. For in her heart a wild hope would always reside, that one day soon her own tale would be written with pride. Each night, when the bakery was locked up tight, Bess would sit by her window and gaze at the moon so bright. She'd imagine herself flying high above the town, soaring through the clouds without a sound, and she'd whisper to the stars, "Oh, please take me away from this humble abode, to a world where magic awaits and legends are sowed." Then one day, as Bess was kneading some dough, a royal proclamation caught her ear. A grand ball at the palace, a chance for all maidens to appear, and a handsome prince to choose his bride. To be chosen by the prince, a wish that many a maiden harbored inside. Now, Bess had no gown, no jewels to impress, just her simple dress and dreams of happiness. But something inside her stirred, a new-found might, and whispered, "Why not you? You could win the prince's sight." Her heart raced with excitement. Her spirits took flight. Bess resolved to bake a cake so grand and so sweet, it would surely make the prince say, "I choose thee to complete my feat." She gathered the finest ingredients, flour, sugar, and spice, and baked a cake that reached up to the skies. It was frosted with cream and adorned with delight, a masterpiece edible, a magnificent sight. The next morning, Bess took the cake to the palace gate, hoping to catch the eye of the royal estate. She entered the courtyard, her head held up high, and presented the cake to the judge with a hopeful sigh. Now, many noble ladies had entered the fray, but their cakes were mere trifles compared to Bess's display. The judges were astounded, the crowds did acclaim, and Bess was invited to present her creation to the king and the queen. As she stepped into the throne room, grand and so tall, she saw the prince charming, the fairest of them all. He looked at Bess and smiled, a twinkle in his eye, for he, too, had seen the magic in her cake so high. The king and the queen were overjoyed. The court did proclaim that Bess's cake was the winner, a triumph of taste and fame. Now, Bess was invited to join them for tea, and there, under the chandeliers, destiny would decree. The prince approached Bess, his eyes full of glee, and asked her to dance. As the orchestra played merrily, They waltzed around the room, and in that moment it was clear that the baker's apprentice and the prince were meant to be here. The night was filled with music and laughter and cheer, and Bess knew in her heart her dreams had come true, my dear. At the stroke of midnight, as the clock tolled so grand, the prince took Bess's hand, and they rode off to fairyland. Her heart soared like a bird in the twilight sky, for she had found her happily ever after so high. Now, let's leave them there in their magical embrace, exploring new lands with love and grace. And remember, dear friends, wherever you may roam, a little bit of magic can bring you home. In a village nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling sea, lived a young man named Finn, as brave as he could be. With a heart of gold and a spirit so free, he roamed the countryside with his loyal dog by his side. Every morning, Finn awoke with the sun's golden ray, ready to start his day. He'd help in the fields or mend a fence or two, always lending a hand to those in need, honest and true. But Finn had a secret, a longing in his soul to explore the world beyond their little knoll. He dreamed of mountains, deserts, and plains so wide, and stories of adventure that he'd heard from travelers passing by his side. Then one day, as Finn was walking through the wood, he came across an old man with a staff of wood. The old man sat on a nearby stone, and Finn, with a heart of gold, asked him if he'd known any stories to be told. The old man smiled, his eyes twinkling bright, and said, "I know a tale that will fill you with delight. There's a hidden waterfall deep in this very wood, where rainbows appear and magic understood." The old man continued, "It's a place of wonder, a secret to behold, but the path is tricky and danger untold." Now, Finn was intrigued, his curiosity piqued, and he asked the old man for directions to seek this hidden waterfall. So, the old man pointed toward a path less traveled by, and warned him to be cautious beneath the trees that hide. And so, Finn set off with his dog by his side, determined to find the waterfall and its magical tide. They followed the path through the trees so tall, listening for the sound of water's gentle fall. As they journeyed deeper into the wood, Finn's determination grew, for he wanted to discover all that lay in view. Suddenly, the trees opened up to reveal a sight so grand, a majestic waterfall cascading down the land. It shimmered and sparkled, a rainbow in the mist, and Finn stood mesmerized by its beauty, so kissed. He dipped his hand into the water, icy and cool, and felt a sense of wonder, a magical pull. At that moment, Finn realized that the journey had been worthwhile, for he had discovered a beauty so beguiling. From that day on, Finn visited the waterfall whenever he could, finding solace in its presence so good. And he knew in his heart that the old man had been right, for this hidden waterfall was a place of magic and light. So, If you ever feel lost or in need of some cheer, remember the waterfall and hold it dear. For in the depths of nature's embrace, magic awaits those who dare to seek its grace. A young princess named Elara, known throughout the land, had a kind heart and a helping hand. But alas, she had a problem, a terrible plight, for she couldn't stop yawning day and night. She tried to focus, she tried to be bright, but her eyelids grew heavy, a constant fight. Now, the king and the queen were worried, you see, for their daughter's well-being, their hearts did bleed. They summoned the wisest, the best in the land, hoping to find a solution to help their dear stand. But each remedy failed, each potion did too, and Princess Elara still yawned, it's true. Then one wise woman stepped forward, her eyes full of light, and said, "There's a cure for your princess, but a journey you must take tonight." The king and the queen, desperate and distressed, agreed to anything to alleviate their daughter's unrest. They packed some supplies and joined the wise woman's train as they set off on a journey through sunshine and rain. They traveled over hills and valleys so wide, and finally reached a cottage where a fire did preside. The wise woman knocked, and an old woman appeared, who welcomed them warmly, dispelling all fear. She led them inside, and on a table laid out a sight, a potion of colors, shimmering and bright. "Drink this," she said to Princess Elara, "and your yawning shall cease." The princess drank the potion, a magical peace. The next morning, the princess awoke, feeling fine, her yawning days gone, her spirit divine. The king and the queen were overjoyed and so proud, their daughter's laughter echoing through the crowd. Now, no one knows what the potion had in store, but Princess Elara never yawned anymore.